Welcome back, grade 11s. Now let's continue with our lesson. The question says, identify the socio-economic issues that are applicable to Pick and Swipe in each statement below. Some of the employees at Pick and Swipe cannot read and write. So obviously the socio-economic issue there is illiteracy. Now let's move on to the next question. Employees are refusing to work until their wage demands are met. So they are refusing to work. They don't want its tools down. Not to say they're at work, they are refusing at all. So that would be strikes. Because remember, with strikes, employees are not at work, they are striking. There's no productivity that is taking place in the workplace. Let's move on to the next question. China brings cheaper excess products into the South African market, and Pick and Swipe cannot compete against these products. Let us read it again. China brings cheaper excess products into South African market. Pick and Swipe cannot compete against these products. So obviously, here's a country bringing their products at a cheaper price, whereby our local businesses are not even able to compete with those prices. So obviously, goods from other countries brought into the country at a cheaper price. That would be dumping. They're dumping their products. So it makes our local businesses not to be able to compete. So the response or the answer for this question is dumping. Let's move on to the next question. Discuss the negative impact of socio-economic issues identified in question 1A. So the socio-economic issue that we identified there was illiteracy. Now we need to discuss rather, the negative impact of illiteracy. Business sometimes need to employ people even though they do not have the correct skills. So the negative impact of illiteracy is that as businesses, if people cannot be able to read and write, you end up being forced to employ those people in order to comply with the EEA, in order to make sure that you apply the affirmative action in the workplace. So it's a challenge for business. Training of these employees can be very costly and the business suffers a financial loss. So having to train these people, or these employees rather, who are unable to read, unable to write, it can be costly for the business, because even after training, it's not guaranteed that they are going to stay in the company. They might leave for other better jobs. So it's costly for a business to train these employees. It becomes expensive. Now let's move on to the next question. We are still discussing the negative impact of the socio-economic issues. Now we'll focus on the negative impact of strikes on businesses. Businesses may be forced to close down, especially those located in townships. Why? Especially those located in townships. It's because when people strike, they tend to focus or to move away from the initial core duty of striking. So what they normally do, moving from the core duty of striking, they end up looting, they end up vandalizing businesses. So it becomes difficult for businesses in townships to go back to the same financial position that they were in before the strikes, before the vandalism took place, before the looting took place. So it becomes a challenge for businesses in township. So that's the reason they end up shutting down. May result in loss of production as employees stay absent from work during strikes. So since employees are not at work, it becomes a problem for businesses, because it simply means that their production activities rather, they are at a standstill because nobody is performing the duties, nobody is performing their jobs because employees are striking. So it becomes a problem because there's no income for the business on those particular days or on that particular day where employees are striking. So it's a loss on the business side due to the strikes. Now, let us just go for a quick ad break and we will be back. Remember, you need to stay tuned.